All right, ladies.
Good
Well,
morning, Dana.
good morning. Good morning. This is it. Like we prepped and then we prepped some more with an easy, not so easy detox over the weekend. And then today we're going deeper. I want to take a moment to acknowledge those of you who have had, and or maybe some of you still experiencing those deep, really, really strong detox symptoms. I want to reassure you that nothing has gone wrong here. These are not signs of illness. These are not signs of your body breaking down. These are not signs of the body becoming sick. They're not signs of anything going wrong. Every single symptom that those of you who have had the really strong symptoms, whether the vomiting, whether the shaking, I think the vomiting and the shaking and the nausea and the pain, some of you had a lot of kidney pain, right? There's nothing wrong here. I would say we might start to worry is if the kidney pain becomes really extreme. If you know you have a history of kidney stones, the only thing also that would mean is that the body wants to flush the kidney stone. If you don't have a history of kidney stones and you're starting to get this really, really strong pain there, you might just have a few beginnings of a kidney stone that you didn't know about. And anyway, you want the body to flush it out. So that's what the body's doing. But I don't have a feeling like anybody in the program has that. Your kidney is a major detox organ, just like your liver is. So you might feel pain right where your liver is here, right underneath your right rib bone. And then you might feel the pain on the back of your back right here where you put your hands. It can shoot down all the way down your legs, back of your legs, front of your legs, inside of your thighs. The body's connected, like not just because your liver is here, then if it feels uncomfortable here, you're not going to feel it anywhere else. You might actually feel pain in your shoulder, in your right shoulder around here. That is a liver pain. It's connected. You might feel kidney pain in your sides and your lower back. And that can shoot down your legs because all of these symptoms are also connected to your lymphatic system. And your lymphatic system is this incredible network. Think of it as like rivers and streams all over your body. And they're collecting all the waste that's coming out of the liver and coming out of the kidneys and coming out from your organs and flushing them out. And that's why some of you felt like a lump, like your lymph nodes are here. They're here. They're here under your arms, here and here, around your where your uterus is, down into your inner thighs, down the back. So anytime you feel a soreness there, that could also be your lymphatic system flushing out. If you feel a little lump here, like how many times, especially let's say you've had a toothache or a tooth problem, or you get one of those sores on the inside of your mouth, on your tongue or on your gums, and sometimes you feel like a soreness here, that's because your lymph is your body's garbage disposal system, and it's trying to flush out the toxins that are coming out of the sore in your mouth or the toothache or whatever it is. So if you feel little lumps and bumps, those aren't problems. Those are like toxins, and then it's just a little bit clogged, and the lymphatic system is trying to like get it through. It will go through. So huge shout out to those of you who persevered with your really, really strong symptoms over the weekend. I know I've been through worse, believe it or not. So I know what it takes to get through them. I know what it takes not to give in, because it can be so easy to say, oh my God, this is not working, I'm so sick. It can be so easy to become really fearful over yourself. I remember one time I was going through a really, really deep detox, and I actually thought I need to go to the emergency room right now. That's how bad it got with me. But because I knew, even though I knew what was happening, even though I had been walked through it, I knew to expect it, that fear can be easily triggered in us when we're experiencing something we've never experienced before. And especially if we're always taught that you shouldn't feel any discomfort in your body, and any discomfort is a sign of like something really wrong. No, discomfort can be, and usually is, the way your body communicates with you. Yes, you need to pay attention to something, but the body, when you're in a healing process, the body knows how to heal. So, and those of you who persevered and didn't break down, we have something, a saying in coaching that's called is always right before the breakthrough, there's the breakdown. So literally just when you think like it can't get any worse is where you stick through it, because right at the other end of that is where the breakthrough happens. And then you wake up and it's like, oh, it's gone. And it will literally be gone just like that. You might have then some residual symptoms. You might still feel some fatigue. You might still feel irritable. In a few days, you might get some more headaches, but that initial push of vomiting, nausea, severe pain, shaking, migraines, headaches, usually just takes a few days, and then you come out at the end of it. So thank you for doing this for yourself and persevering, because now that hard part is over, the body can really start to focus on healing. So today we are taking the healing to another level by removing animal protein and removing any grains that you might have consumed in the first 3 days, nuts, grains, even the good fats. By removing all of that and just focusing on fruits and vegetables, we are going super, super alkaline. Fruits and vegetables are the most alkaline foods that you can eat. We're literally removing all sources of acidity, all sources of potential inflammation to help heal the body. And the vegetables and the fruits that are in the plan now, specifically the vegetables, are the ones that, and they're in large quantities, because you literally need around 1 kilo of vegetables a day in order to heal the liver. So the quantities are quite important. The types of vegetables are quite important. If you can't find Brussels sprouts, or you can't find broccoli, or any of the ones that are specified there, increase the ones that you can find. Don't add you can add any other vegetable with the exception of potatoes. Potatoes are going to make an appearance on day 11 only. And the reason for that is that potatoes slow down the process. As some of you who were not feeling well, I advised you to take potatoes over the weekend. They're very, very detoxing. Potatoes are incredibly detoxing. They're really good at eliminating viruses, but they don't have the scrubbing and the strong healing properties of like asparagus and broccoli and raw greens. So they will slow the process down. So that's why they don't come in until day 11, when we take a little break from deep detoxing. All right. Other than that, you follow the plan starting today exactly as is. So you leave the clean eating guide. You don't go and choose any recipes from the clean eating guide anymore. You're following the plan exactly as is. If you get a little bit more hungry and you want, in addition to the apples and dates that are your snacks, you can have other fruits. Any other fruit you can add, but not replace the apples and the dates. So if you've had your apples, had your dates, and you're still hungry, by all means, go have a banana, go have a mango, go have a pineapple, go have grapes, go have whatever you want. But make sure that you have the building blocks of the eating plan in place first before you add other things in, with the exception of potatoes. All right. Who has a question? Sally, go ahead.
Morning. Hi. I thought I was doing really well. Yesterday, I was very active. No, I was active after the signs I got and I shared with you on the net. I went to the club and I had a meeting, and I went to my doctor. He told me that I'm getting better. And then at 2 o'clock at night, I'm starting this horrible headache in my eyes. So the crypt the brain is telling me, how can I tell this is from detox or from my ailment? And it's a kind of headache now. I feel in my forehead, but my eyes is scaring me. I want you to reassure me or support me on this, because how can I tell? I even sent my doctor and he called me to hear my voice. He told me your voice looks like maybe sinusite or getting a cold or detoxing or something. Not, but he wanted me, not because of this, he told me to go to X-ray, and I told him maybe tomorrow because I want to give myself rest. And he told me it's very okay. So I don't know. I'm glad that I'm sharing with you. I was waiting for this meeting very much. And it's just that everything else is very okay. I don't get hungry. I'm happy with the food, and It's just about fruits. If I can eat ishta, my husband got ishta, you know, this big, and
Yes, of course. Yes. Yes.
and I can't find, of course, I didn't get this asparagus, so I have broccolis and zucchini and spinach, frozen spinach, and that's so. This is the vegetables
You
I'm
can add, if you can find artichoke, you can replace artichoke is always a great addition on top of these vegetables. You can do that. Definitely okay for the ishta. Anytime you have a pre-existing condition, so with you, you have the eye condition. Somebody else, it might be fibroid. Somebody else, it might be arthritis, you know, they're a joint issue. Somebody else might have psoriasis, which is a skin issue, right? Somebody might have a thyroid issue. Anytime we are intentionally working to heal the body, especially when it comes to autoimmune, we know that with almost all autoimmune, the root cause, if we were to test for it, we're going to find some kind of virus or pathogen. And typically with all autoimmune, the viruses that we find are either Epstein-Barr virus or some kind of herpes virus that maybe you contracted years and years and years ago, and you forgot about it. Maybe you didn't even know that you got it years and years and years ago. So these viruses sort of embed themselves in your organs, either in your thyroid or in your eye or in your joints, and they definitely find a nice cozy place in the liver. So what we're doing now with this detox, and these viruses all thrive on inflammatory foods. So these viruses and the pathogens love the wheat and the dairy and the sugar and the caffeine and the alcohol and the sodas and the junk food and the corn and the soy. They love these foods. So, and you, without knowing it and not even making a connection or even recalling that you might even have a virus inside you, because you're not really feeling symptoms of a virus, right? And nobody connects autoimmune to old viral infections. You eat these foods not knowing that there's a connection. And what happens is the viruses get stronger and they grow inside your body. And when they grow and you have a particular autoimmune that is connected to one of these viruses, then the symptoms of your autoimmune get worse. So what we're doing now is we're starving these viruses, right? So as soon as you take away what they love to eat, which makes your symptoms worse, they start to die off. As they're dying off, though, they sort of, they have to come out of their hole. You know, it's kind of like you opened up like a bala and everything has to come out of the bala. The virus is just to come out, like it has to be flushed out. Your lymphatic system has to flush it out. So as the viruses are being flushed out of your body, whatever symptoms of autoimmune that you had before are going to flare up before they get better. So if you have with you like eye discomfort or eye pain, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Somebody who has psoriasis, you know, skin condition where they have like these patches and things that come on their skin, or eczema, it's all going to get worse. Like the eczema is going to get worse. Psoriasis is going to get worse before it dies down. This is normal and this is expected. And this is how you flush the viruses in order to get rid of your autoimmune. So again, we panic when this happens. We fear that our disease is getting worse. But part of the healing process is actually called a healing crisis, where it feels like a crisis, where you feel your symptoms get a lot worse and then you panic. But then it's about powering through, just like waiting for it, waiting for it, waiting for it. And then it all subsides and you start to reduce the symptoms and reverse completely. And this happens even if you don't have an autoimmune. So like not everybody here has an autoimmune, but whatever was bothering you or whatever symptoms you came into the program with, fatigue, period pain. So like, let's say you're waiting for your next period, you might find that your period is more painful the next cycle. Period pains might take a few cycles for that pain to subside. So that might get worse. Your PMS might get worse. Acne can get worse, you know, that's another skin condition. So expect, and that's a sign that everything is working. Expect everything to get worse. That's why we have those detox withdrawal symptoms. And then it subsides. You know that as it's subsiding, especially for autoimmune, you know that then you're succeeding. You know that you're killing off the old viruses and the old pathogens in your body, and you're going to see the symptoms subside very gradually. Does that help you, Sally? Does it help you feel?
very much, Dana, but I'm just concerned about the inflammation I used to get. It's not coming, of course, the inflammation, I understand about the signs and the pain and all this, but about the inflammation, it can't come while I'm eating that healthy, right? Because the inflammation, I mean, showed becoming red and
yes, that's it. That's exactly it, right? So that is a sign of inflammation coming from the inside out. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm not getting, yani, I hope, I wish I don't get the redness and the inflammation, because maybe if I do, they will start telling me that I have to take other medications, you know.
There's no way to know if this is going to happen or not. If it does, it is again part of the healing process. So you are going to start to be able to, all of you, really understand how your body is working. And one thing that there's just like a general piece of information that everybody needs to know, that when you are prescribed medication for a chronic condition, I'm not talking about emergency, right? I'm not talking about when you break your leg or you're in a car accident and you have to go to the emergency room and they have to fix you quickly, right? I'm talking about when you have a chronic condition or you have an autoimmune condition, you have chronic symptoms, and you go to a doctor and a doctor prescribes medication, you have the right to agree or disagree. So not just because a doctor tells you you have to take this medication means you have to take this medication. You get to decide. You get to go and do your own research. You also need to ask your doctor several really important questions whenever they're giving you a medication. You need to ask them exactly what this medication is meant to do. Like, walk me through exactly from when this pill enters my mouth until it goes inside my body. How is it affecting every single organ in my body? Then you need to know, you need to ask exactly what are the potential side effects of this medication. Then you need to ask, if this medication going to cure me, as in, is it going to get rid of this issue, or is it just going to suppress and manage my symptoms? Which means then, how long do I have to take this medication? Will I ever be able to get off the medication or not? You need to be able to ask, is there an alternative to this medication? And then you have to ask, what will happen if I don't take this medication? That's how you get to something called informed consent. So that when you say yes or no, you're doing it from a place of knowledge. It's not just a blind, take this pill, okay. And this is something everybody needs to know. This goes back to something called the Nuremberg Code. It goes back to informed consent. It's something that unfortunately the medical community just sort of ignores for the most part, that no doctor is allowed to give you medication without giving you all of this information. So, and if a doctor doesn't, go find another doctor who will. You cannot be taking something and putting it in your body without you taking responsibility for it. And the way you take responsibility for it is by you knowing exactly what this medicine is going to do, not going to do, potentially have a side effect, and all of these things that I just mentioned. So and the reason I'm saying this, because Sally's like, they're gonna tell me, then you have to take this, you have to take this. You don't have to do anything, like I said, outside of an emergency, right? I'm not talking about when God forbid, something happens and you have to go to the emergency room. There's no time there to say, oh, well, what's my other option here? No, like you had a heart attack, you need the doctors to fix you, right? Something happened to you, you need the doctors to fix you. I'm talking about chronic conditions. Chronic conditions are very different than emergency situations. And a chronic condition, just by definition, means it's ongoing, chronic. So if there's something that's ongoing with you, and if you get to choose if you want to take the medicine for the rest of your life, but if you don't, then you get to choose that too, and you get to see what your options are, but you can't see what your options are if you don't have all the information. So for anybody here who is in that situation, know now, whether if you didn't know before, that it's your right as a patient to have all the information before you consent, and that your consent is not automatic, and that your consent is not a given, and that just because somebody says, a doctor or anybody tells you this is what you have to do, then you do it, unless you are 100% convinced. All right. Nahla, go ahead.
Good morning, Dana. How are you?
Morning. I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Hello.
I have to be good. That's what we agreed. Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, no, you're chopping up. Can
Hello?
you start again? Can you say it again?
Okay, because actually I'm outside. I'm trying to get connected through the 4G. That's why maybe
Okay.
it will
Okay, I can hear you
be
now.
cutting off.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I had a very bad headache yesterday. All of a sudden at the afternoon,
Mhm.
and I felt very cold. That's
Mhm.
why I went and brought a blanket, and because I was feeling cold.
Mhm.
And then I started having blocked nose, then running nose.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I slept, and I woke up with the headache as well.
Okay.
But when I drank the lemon and the celery, the headache went off.
Okay.
I was okay.
Okay.
After some time, I was okay. Then I started by preparing for my lunch and this stuff. So I was fine. Yesterday, when I went out like 2 hours shopping, I was very exhausted. And when I'm sitting at home, I'm fine. But
Yeah.
when I go out, I feel exhausted.
Yeah.
So I think it's better at that time that we keep quiet and stay at home.
But well, I did say conserve your energy, right? Your body's working really, really hard. But with regards to all the symptoms that you said, you know, the blocked nose, the runny nose, the most basic detox withdrawal symptoms are flu-like symptoms, feeling like you're getting a cold or feeling like you're getting the flu. Those are the most basic detox symptoms. So like a runny nose, body aches, a temperature, hot and cold, all of those are very, very expected, predictable symptoms of detox withdrawal. So that's not, none of that is a problem. If you are anybody who had used sugar or caffeine in order to give you energy, even just to do your normal errands during the day or normal tasks, then yeah, this first initial phase, you going out and doing your normal day-to-day is going to feel harder without that push that used to get from sugar and caffeine. So again, what you said is so true. As much as you can, allow your body to heal. Don't try and expend too much energy because the body's already using up a lot of energy to detox. So definitely, Nahla, 100% rest, do what you need to do, but nothing has gone wrong here for you at all.
Okay, that's great. Something else is I observed that in the new in these days in phase 2, there is no snack between the morning and lunch.
You have the
Am I
apples,
right?
you have the apples and dates. Your main
This is
snack,
between lunch and evening,
yeah, you can
right?
have it in the
And
morning.
dinner.
Yeah, you can have it between breakfast and lunch. You can have it between lunch and dinner. This is your main snack right now in these 6 days, with the exception of Friday, which is the juicing day. Apples and dates, apples and dates, as much as you want.
Yeah, so I can distribute them the way I like. There is no issue.
Well, just don't have less. I need you at least to have the 2 apples and the 2 or 3 dates at a time. So don't have less. Yeah.
At one time?
Yes.
Because yesterday, for example, I couldn't do it. And I ate 1 apple and the dates, but I couldn't eat the second apple. So I ate it at night with the 2 apples and lemon and hibiscus after dinner.
Here's an option for the apples. You can what you can do for the apples, those of you who have, you know, obviously it's going to take more time, but you can turn them into like an apple sauce. So you can chop up the apples, steam them where they're nice and soft, and then blend them in your blender, add a little bit of cinnamon, and you can have like a nice warm applesauce. That will also work.
Yeah, because maybe this will be easier.
Yeah.
Because eating 2 apples at one time, it's not that easy.
Yeah, it'll be easier to eat, but just keep in mind that it'll also take a little bit longer to prepare. But you can definitely also do that. You can make a nice, especially as the weather's getting cooler now, it's a nice hot sort of a kind of like a dessert that you can have also.
Okay, that's great. The aloe vera. I am planting it at my garden. So can I take from this?
Definitely,
Or-
you can add a little bit of this to your smoothie. You blend it in with your smoothie in the morning, like a chunk.
Okay.
Or you can do just plain aloe vera water, which you just take a chunk and blend it with water in your blender and drink it. Definitely,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
Okay, I think we are getting out of celery. I don't know why. All of a sudden, there is no celery in any supermarket.
This
I think we finished the celery.
I think we've been, yeah, every time we have a slight shortage when we start the programs. I mean, imagine there's what, 79 women on this program. Everybody's going out and getting celery. So yeah, as much as you can, try and find it as much as you can. Those of you who do find it, share where you're finding it and help each other out.
When I
And
get
if you
celery,
don't,
because
and if you don't, right, you have the substitutions. That's why you can have cucumber juice instead in the substitutions in your document, or you can have the ginger water. Those are your substitutions if you can't find celery. Not if you don't like celery, if you can't find celery.
if I have a lot of celery, then can I freeze them and then juice them every day, or this will not be okay?
No, if you have a lot of celery, you juice it first and put it in like plastic bags and then put it in your freezer. You can do that, but don't freeze the actual stalks. That won't work.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dana.
You're welcome. Irina.
Hi, Dana.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm actually good. I'm feeling light. Started to feel light.
Good.
I'm chewing on apple. Now I heard that you said that we have to eat 2 apples at a time.
Yeah.
So I followed the first one, the second. And actually, my question is around the same topic for the dates and apples for the snacks. Can I have I know you answered already that I can have as many dates as I want to through the day.
Yes.
I wasn't sure if it's for this stage as well.
Yes.
If I want 10 dates, I can have them.
Yes.
No. And apples the same. If I want to have 3 snacks a day with 2 apples each time, it's completely fine.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Okay, perfect. That's that's the only thing that is that I needed to clarify.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dana.
You're welcome. Salwa, go ahead.
Hi, Dana. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, all good. So a few days ago, it was my husband's birthday, and I had to prepare a lot of stuff to do that day, and we had people over and everything. And I didn't eat well that day, so eventually I had a severe headache at the end of the day, and it was horrible. So, and I usually when I have headaches, I use like peppermint oil and like natural things.
Okay.
But unfortunately that day it was really bad, so I had to take Panadol.
Okay.
To ease the pain and stuff.
All right.
Alhamdulillah, it worked.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask if that's okay, if we can take if we can take like medication if we have a headache or something. And something else, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I've been feeling very, very, very emotional these days. Most of the people around me, they're not convinced with what I'm doing with the detox and everything, except my husband, alhamdulillah.
Okay.
But hearing people's opinions and stuff, it demotivates me like really bad. But so that's it. Okay. Is that normal, like being very sensitive to these things, or is it just me?
Yeah. Let me answer your first question because it's easier. Over-the-counter medications like Panadol, Tylenol are one of the worst things at any time for anybody to take because of how they harm the liver, incredibly harmful to the liver. But if you've tried the natural way and it doesn't work and the pain is unbearable, every once in a while, if that's what you need to do, then that's what you need to do. But we want to get out of the habit of just popping a Tylenol or popping a Panadol anytime we have a little headache or a little discomfort or anything, because this is I can't stress how harmful these medications are to the liver. So if you've done it once, no problem. Go back to your natural healing, especially now that we're doing the detox. Keep all of these things out, and hopefully out, permanently. As you know.
we don't have these type of medications at home. We usually do meditation if we we know how to ease the pain on our own. But so we had like friends that carried Panadol with them. So I just asked if anyone has Panadol, because it was really bad. It was the very first time that this happened to me.
It's things that are done across the board. Things that are done on an exceptional basis are not the things that you worry about, right? So like when you go and have a pizza in the future, right? Like that's not your normal anymore. You go and have a Panadol once every 6 months or once a year. That's not your normal anymore. Our bodies are, once you are in the process of rebuilding and rebalancing, which is what we're doing, your body's going to become a lot more resilient and can start to deal with these toxins more quickly and more efficiently. So yeah, no problem. In terms of the emotional release, everybody put your hands up if you're experiencing, on top of physical symptoms, emotional release as well. Put your hands up. Like you're feeling weepy, you're feeling maybe some anger, you're feeling maybe some resentment, you're feeling old like thoughts coming up that are making you sad or just bringing you down. All right, so this happens. It's part of the process. Our body holds on to emotional toxicity in exactly the same way that it holds on to toxicity from what you eat and drink and put on your skin and all of that. The thing is, in exactly the same way that when you're taking in inflammatory foods and drinks and chemicals and products and things, you just sort of take them in and you don't intentionally work to process them out. The same way when you, at any point in your life, experience sadness or somebody, makes you upset or angry, or you have an argument and you're carrying resentment around, or grief, or anything that we look at them as just not the optimal feelings. And when you were experiencing those feelings, you didn't really process them, and you just maybe push them down because you either didn't know how to deal with them or you didn't have a safe space to let those emotions out. They're going to come out right now. So you're going to find yourself feeling a little bit more vulnerable than you might otherwise feel, right? So you might find yourself like 3 weeks ago, somebody might have said to you, who does a detox and what is this silly thing, and food doesn't matter, while you're not doing a detox, and it might not affect you at all. But because you are energetically in this space right now of sort of being knocked down in order to be rebuilt again, you are vulnerable. So it's not going to be very easy. And especially that if people if they're watching you and they're seeing you not feel well, and they're seeing you get headaches, and they're seeing you experience uncomfortable symptoms, and they're like, well, look at what's happening to you. How can this possibly be a good thing?
This is actually what happened.
Yeah, it's going to rattle you, right? Like it's gonna rattle your confidence, like especially in these first few days when you're feeling the worst. How can you try and convince somebody that this is a good thing? Like I'm feeling sick, but don't worry, that's a good thing. And if they're not there, then that's the thing. They won't be unless they make that decision. So as you're going through this process, thank God your husband is on board with you. This is really important. Nobody else needs to understand, and nobody else will understand unless, for whatever reason, they're still watching you really closely and they see you go from, she was miserable and had all these horrible symptoms, and she never takes Panadol, but she even asked for a Panadol. Like imagine, like she never takes Panadol, but her detox made her so sick that she needed to take a Panadol. And then they're watching you get through that. And then they watch you get to the point where you're feeling amazing, and they're watching you reverse your symptoms, and they're watching you completely transform. then they might sort of bite their pride and come and ask you and be curious. But unless somebody does that, don't waste your energy on anyone. They just won't get it. Nobody, maybe some of you were like that a few years ago, right? Like maybe you heard about this, maybe you saw somebody doing it, you just weren't there yet. And not everybody does reach a place where they want to heal themselves naturally, and they get to choose that. But that doesn't mean that it's not a reflection of you. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just, people don't like to see people that they know change because they're used to you being a certain way. So people around you, it scares them when somebody sees you change, because then it's almost like they don't know how to treat the new version of you. Like they're so used to having you be a certain way, like you staying in your comfort zone keeps them in their comfort zone. You moving out of your comfort zone scares them because they don't want to move out of their comfort zone. So there's a lot of things to keep in mind here, but definitely as you're processing your own emotions through this physical process, you're going to have an emotional experience also. When I say protect your energy as much as you can, that's part of it. Respectfully, right? Respectfully, you get to choose and do what you need to do for yourself. And if somebody doesn't understand that or doesn't support that, that's also their right. They also get to think and believe that. So just agree to disagree. And my favorite one, if these conversations come up, I'll just say, my doctor told me to do it. And that usually ends all conversations and people stop asking.
Yeah, that is true. Yani, I don't want to convince anyone to do it or anything. Yani, people like, if they don't agree, then that's them. But
yeah,
I just want them to be open-minded and just accept that.
We want them.
I know it's not easy.
Yeah. We want them to be, right? We all want them to be. We want everybody around, especially when you feel a change, right? You want everybody to feel good too. You want people you love who are maybe sick or maybe have chronic conditions. You want them to not be sick anymore. You want them to heal, but you can't want it for them more than they want it for themselves. So if somebody just doesn't want it, it's just not open, it's just not their thing. Remind yourself that you can't want it for anybody unless they don't want it for themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yani, I told them the example you said the last Zoom meeting about the lady who was like 40 to 45 years old, and she found like the small the Barbie shoe in her stool.
Yeah.
And when I told them this example, they were like, they made fun of me, and they're like, this is like crap and everything. They just don't get it. It just made me angry. And
yes.
Yeah.
You're going to go through all, like the whole range of emotions. And as you go through this, you're just going to have to, remind yourself of why you're doing it. At the end of the day, you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for anybody else, because nobody, I mean, these people who are criticizing you, when you, la samahala, you get really sick, right? Let's say you break down, you become weak, and you listen to everybody around you, and you decide, right, I'm not going to go do this natural healing thing anymore. That's it. I don't want it. Okay. You give in. You fall in line with what everybody around you is saying, the pressure, but then you get worse. Are these people going to be there for you? Are these people who criticized your choice, are they going to help you? Is their opinion and is their support or lack of support, like, is that going to be there to help you get through when you get more sick? No. Sadly, no. Like, their opinion is not going to matter at all at that point. And the only thing that would have happened is you would have harmed yourself, unfortunately. So it is a very, very powerful journey that you're all going on. You are, like I told you, I don't know if I told you, I can't remember, but you're breaking generational patterns, all of you. A generational pattern is something that's passed on through each generation, as the name suggests, from your from the earliest grandparents that you've had all the way down through your parents to you. All of us have generational patterns of health, of wealth, of education, of culture, of ways of thinking. They all get passed down. and you get to choose. It's not, and most of us just take all these generational patterns for granted. Like, this is just how my parents were, how my grandparents were, how my great-grandparents were. So this is just how I'm going to be. And in many instances, there's no problem, right? In many instances, you can reevaluate all the patterns that you've inherited, and you get to decide which ones you want to keep and which ones are not serving you anymore. Maybe they worked 70 years ago, but they're not necessarily working right now. And one of those generational patterns is health, right? We've just accepted that ill health and aging in a certain way is just going to happen in a certain way. It's been passed down. Definitely nobody in my family. I'm the first person in my family. Maybe all of you are going to be the first person in your family to question, how am I going to go through the second half of my life? Am I going to accept that it's normal for me to get older and to age and to end up with all the diseases that my father had and my mother has and my grandparents had? Because everybody believes that if your grandparents had it and your parents had it, you're going to get it. We know now this is absolutely not true. That genetics basically load a gun, but the only thing that fires this gun is how you eat and how you live. So we know that there's 100% there's 100% guaranteed way that you don't have to end up with any of the diseases of your parents and your grandparents. But are you going to choose to do that? So if you choose to do that, then you are breaking generational pattern of health. You're going to move on, and then you're going to eventually pass this on to your children, of not moving through the different stages of our life, assuming and just accepting ill health. That's something that it just happens when you get to be 50 and 60 and 70. There's just going to be a decay and an erosion and a decline and constant pain. That's what 99.9% of the world, not just in Egypt, believe. And this is something that's been passed down to us. It's something that we've been programmed into by basically an industry that profits from having you believe this. What you're doing now is you're busting all of that. You're getting out of all of it. You are healing yourself, taking back responsibility for your health, and creating a body and a terrain that's not going to break down the same way that your parents and your grandparents did. So when people see you do that, that is scary to people. That is scary, that you're somebody who's courageous enough to have the guts to say, you know what, I'm not, God willing, again, it always goes back to God, but God always said you have a brain and you think accordingly and take action accordingly. I'm just not going to do that. I just don't accept, like for me, both of my parents have diabetes. I'm 49. By the time both of my parents were 49, they both had diabetes. My father has had heart disease. He's had a quadruple bypass, high blood pressure. My mother had fibroids, had her entire uterus removed, had her gallbladder removed, all by 52. I don't have any of that. None of it. And I don't plan on it, right? And that's because I stopped about 15 years ago. I stopped eating and drinking and living the way my parents do. My sisters, I have 5 brothers and sisters, 3 of them. So let's say we're just going to look at female genes in the family. 3 of my 3 sisters have IBS. And this just to show you to what extent your own family members are not going to, and if you're a health coach, your own family members are not going to be on board with what you're doing. So my 3 sisters don't do what I do, and they all have IBS. So why would I be the only sister in the family who doesn't have IBS? The only reason is because I don't eat the things that they eat, and I live and I take care of my health in a very different way. So this is a choice that you're making, and it's a big decision that you're making that's, for whatever reason, is just not going to go down well with the people around you. And that's part of the healing process for you. That's going to be part of your evolution. That's part of how you're raising your level of awareness and your level of consciousness, is to be able to accept that you are going to go through this journey, and it might be lonely and you're not necessarily going to find support for it, but you're going to have to stick with it anyway. And you're going to have to accept and respect that other people don't agree with the steps that you've chosen and the journey that you're taking.
That was very, very, very extremely helpful.
Oh, good.
Thank you very, very much for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Let me just look, because I see all these questions in the Q&A here. Manel, can we add cinnamon to the apple and date snack? Yes. Maha, can I have ul'as without animal soup? No, because ul'as is kind of in the potato family, Maha. So on the day that we have potatoes, you can do it or leave it for after you're done with the 9 days. Angie, are sweet potatoes allowed during these 3 days or not? No. Potatoes, sweet potatoes, pumpkin, all of those starchy vegetables come on day 11. So not yet. Rihem, hi Dana, until when should we expect the detox symptoms to last? So it can go anywhere from like it's still ongoing. Some of you might still experience them for another week, but ideally within the next week, you're going to see a slight tapering, if not a sudden. Like you might have horrible symptoms and wake up tomorrow and be fine, or you're going to see tapering. What can also happen is they can disappear completely. And then in 2 weeks, you find some of them coming back. That is the natural cycle and nature of healing. And it doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong or that something is happening. Rihem, are we allowed to have sweet potatoes? No. Day 11, Rihem, I have noticed my cravings are completely gone. Already, amazing. My husband had a big pizza yesterday. I couldn't even look at it. I hope it lasts. It will last. It will keep going. It will keep going. Your cravings will get less and less and less. But here, I'm gonna just tell you this. There is going to be a time when you are going to want a pizza, and that's okay. It's not a question of when it's going to happen. If it's going to happen, it's a question of when. It will happen, and when it does, don't sweat it. Have the pizza, wake up the next day, continue on your routine. Maha, is there any limits on fruits and honey for someone with insulin resistance? 0 limits on fruits, 0 limits on honey. Fruits are not what cause insulin resistance, ever. What causes insulin resistance is a high-fat diet. Then fruits become a problem if you're eating it in a high-fat diet. Insulin resistance happens from processed carbohydrates, the packaged stuff, the processed stuff. You never get sick from God-made food that has not been tampered with by humans. God-made fruits, as they are, they've been around for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years in that perfect form. You don't get sick from an apple or a banana or grapes or watermelons or dates or honey. These are healing foods. Rihem, how do we use the lavender peppermint oils for headache and brain fog? You need lavender, you need peppermint, you need a coconut oil or olive oil. You're going to put a little bit of the coconut or olive oil in your palm, add a few drops of the peppermint, add a few drops of the lavender, mix it all in, and then massage it into your forehead and back of your neck. And you can use it as many times as you need. Nahla, can we use spearmint instead of peppermint oil? Yes, of course. Can we use the ginger dressing in the clean eating recipe guide for the salad instead of the lemon? Remind me of the ginger dressing. If it doesn't have any kind of if it's just lemon and ginger or something, yes, you can do that. Rihem, what natural remedy should I use for cough? You could also use the peppermint for cough, Rihem. You can use that peppermint lavender and rub it on your throat and on your chest. That will help with the cough also. What about carrots? Carrots are fine. You can add carrots from today if you'd like. Is that everything? Marianne, what if I have no symptoms other than loose motion after the celery juice? Does this mean my toxicity is less? Potentially, yes. So it definitely does mean those of you who had really intense, really strong, really fast symptoms, that is a sign of a high level of toxicity. It's also a sign that your liver happened to release that toxicity really fast. Some of you might still have a level of high toxicity, but your liver is not releasing it so fast. So it's not a black or white answer. You might find that you're not showing anything now, like I said, but maybe in a week, maybe in 10 days, you will show signs, not necessarily. But as long as, for you, you're seeing a direct release, let's put it that way, then that's a good sign that the liver is releasing for you. That's how the liver is releasing daily versus it showing in a headache or body ache or something like that. Okay, I think that's all for the Q&A. Maha, go ahead.
Hello, Dana.
Hi.
I had OLS today. What should I do?
Well, that's okay. Well, here's the thing, Maha, this is, this is not your first time doing this, so that's all right. You're good to go. Your body's already in a detox mode, so you're good to go. Just keep going. That's not a problem for you. And anyway, and even if this wasn't your first time, like I told you before, you can't do this wrong. Like, what did you do? You had OLS. You had a plant.
Yes, I had OLS. I really craved OLS.
Right? There's worse things you can do than have OLS or a potato, if you decide to. Like, it's still a vegetable. It's still healing. It's just maybe not as healing as the asparagus and the broccoli, but this is not going to interfere with your healing process.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Rihan, go ahead. Nope, not Rihan. All right, let me see if there's anything here. Marianne, I joined late. Did you discuss the poop types? No, I did not discuss the poop types. You have the poop types in the Facebook group today. So go through and look at those poop types. I'm also going to upload a written description of each type so you can understand. Basically what you want to have, if you notice on the poop types, some of them have a frowny face, like a painful face, and some of them have a smiley face. There's two of them that have the smiley face. You want the smiley face ones. Okay, there's two types that we prefer. If you're in between, maybe you have one with a smiley face one day and then you have one that's like not one of the happy ones another day. That's all right. Today is literally only your fourth day, ladies, your fourth day of decades, right? Fourth day out of decades of clearing out your body. So there is going to be, imbalances in there. So it's okay if you're not all, it's not all happy poops yet. It's also there for you to know as it starts to recalibrate which of the poops is the one that you want to be on the lookout for. So if you haven't also paid attention yet, start looking at your poops so you can see which one is yours. I'll also upload the written description so you can have that. That's all you need to know for today for the poops, is basically for you to just say, right, here's where I'm at today. I'm number 4, I'm number 7, I'm number 5, that's it. And keep in mind which is the ideal one that eventually you should be having. Anybody else, ladies, have any questions for me today? Sally, go ahead.
Dana, I'm sure you said before, but I didn't get it. The magnesium oil spray and the peppermint lavender mix and the Epsom salt bath. Where can I get them from, please?
Black Lotus, Arij Aromatherapy, and Blessed Botanicals. Between those three, you'll find all of those.
Blessed? Is it Blessed Botanicals?
Yeah. Blessed Herbal Journeys or Blessed Botanicals on Instagram, and then Arij Aromatherapy and Black Lotus.
Excellent. Can I tell you something, please? Regarding the flares that come for the autoimmune, I decided that I'm not getting because I'm already on cortisone, decreasing it. So I think this will keep the redness and the severe inflammation attacks, and the pain I'm controlling now with the resting and I think the nutrition stuff we're eating today, the vegetables, it will make it better.
Yes.
So
but with
I decided not to get it.
Okay. With autoimmune, though, you are looking at a minimum of 3 months, right? Minimum of 3 to 6 months for you to see a complete sort of subsiding of the symptoms. And if you're testing, so some of you, if you're keeping track through blood tests or something, in order to see a shift in blood work, that would also take a minimum of 3 to 6 months to see that shift.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Amen. How are you doing? Amen.
I'm surviving.
My warrior, one of my warriors. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Actually, my emotions were not stable those 2 days, and I was hesitating from quitting, not quitting, continue. And all the people around me were, when I was sick, no, please don't continue. You are a special condition. You will not survive. And yani, at night, I decided, no, I'll get my lemon drink, I'll get my apple, and then we'll start again. And today I'm doing great, alhamdulillah. I'm low at energy, but I'm doing quite. I just need to ask you, do I have to eat apple or just any fruit?
Apple, please. Yeah, apple, like the celery, it's very, very specific healing and medicinal properties, right? So if you don't, you might want to try turning it into the applesauce. Like, I don't know if you were here when I said turn it into applesauce. Steam it and make sure it's nice and soft, and then put it in your blender. Maybe we might need a little bit of water, add some cinnamon to it, and you have a really, really nice, like a applesauce dessert. So that will also work if you, for anybody who feels like, you know, like crunching or like biting into an apple is a little bit too much.
I'll eat it easier.
Yeah, yeah, because it's also not going to feel like an apple. It's just going to feel like a yummy dessert.
Okay, halas. I'm doing great, and thank you for your support, and thanks for all the other ladies for their nice comments and encouraging.
Right? Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's incredible. I was sort of just jumping in the weekend, like to see like who were the emergencies, but today I had some time to look through everybody else's comments, and definitely the support you all gave each other. You all gave the ladies who were having a harder time than others. Amazing, right? Like that's how we get through it. Unfortunately, you know, if you're not getting that support in your life, this is where you get it, inside this community. So that's why another reason that makes this community so special. So definitely thank you, ladies, for being there for each other over the weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question or comment for me? Lubna, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I don't have a question. I have a comment rather. I tried with my husband to join the detox, and I succeeded, but he's having a very hard time. He loves cappuccino. He loves the bread, and I just finished a sourdough bread course, so, so it's not very easy for him. Yeah. And but he's surviving so far. I'm not sure he'll be able to continue the 21 days. Hopefully, he'll just, but he's having a very hard time. And
so did he actually remove then the coffee and the bread and everything?
Yes. He's sticking to the diet just like me.
Okay,
and he was convinced. I managed to convince him. I told him it's a matter of health, especially that he has high blood pressure. Excuse me. He has high blood pressure. So I said, you have to take care of yourself, and we're over 60. So we have to be very careful these days. So anyway, he started with me.
Not to interrupt you. You also, was it you who mentioned also that he has fatty liver, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah. And that's why, and this is where it came from. I approached him from that side as well. Yeah. I said, I mean, especially when you told me that having a fatty liver is not okay, as the doctors told him. No. So he was convinced and very encouraged at the beginning. The first 2-3 days were okay, but then, but honestly, he's sticking to it. We were invited to a wedding on Friday, and he just had a piece of steak, two very small pieces of steak. He stuck to the asparagus. And we didn't take anything else. I mean, he's really, really trying hard, but I'm not sure he'll be able to continue. It's too hard for him.
I'm going to invite you, Lubna. I'm going to invite you to give your husband some more credit. Okay, he might be struggling, but the struggle for everybody at the beginning is real. The struggle at the beginning, as you've all seen, is the hardest part. I know that you are creating the space for yourself right now, but it's a blessing that you have been able to get your husband to jump on board. So I'm going to invite you as his spouse and his partner in life to hold space for him, to believe in him, right? Because it's all about energy. Believe in him. Stop telling yourself he's not going to make it. I don't think he's going to make it. I'm going to catch your thought for you here. Instead, tell yourself, my husband is strong. My husband is going to do this. My husband has a lot of willpower. We're going to walk each other through this process. He's going to come out at the end of this feeling so amazing. His blood pressure is going to start to go down. It's going to start to reverse. His fatty liver numbers, we're going to go test them in 2 months and they're going to be different. Put yourself in a different energy, and this is going to put him in a different energy, which means he's going to get different results.
No, this is just between you and me.
Not even between, on any level, on any level, right?
Because
but having said all that, right? Having said all that, we
Yeah.
can only control what we do and think and feel and say, all of us, right? At the end of the day, you're going to put yourself in that energy. You're going to speak and think about him in that way. But at the end of the day, he's the only one responsible for his results, not you. So
true.
so you're going to be responsible for, you're going to prepare, and you're going to feel all the things, and you're going to think all the thoughts, and you're going to hold the energy, and you're going to hold the space, because that's all you can do, right? Everybody's individual results are their responsibility only.
No, I think he'll put his mind to it and he'll pass through, but he's having so much difficulty. I mean, it's the first time he ever to go on a diet in his life. And he's like looking at me and how on earth did you convince me of that? But
well, something did, right? Something inside him said, you know what? Like you said, we're over 60. If I've never paid attention to my health before, maybe now is the time. It's like a now or never situation. Like something on some level got through to him, and he might be struggling. You know, the struggle is expected, right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
You know, comfort him through it. Maybe he might be struggling more than you. Then maybe take some of the advice that I've been sharing with some of the other women who were struggling and see if that helps him a little bit. Maybe he needs to take it slower. But I just want to remind you 2 things. You are responsible for your energy around him, and you're not responsible for his results.
Gotcha. But I tell you something, it's so much easier when you have your partner,
of course,
in the detox. It makes life so much easier, because imagine with all the preps, and I have to also cook for the. It's really mind-boggling. There's so much work to do. Honestly, there's so much work. I have a problem with the salary the most.
Okay,
I'm
gonna catch your thought. What did you just say?
I have a problem. No, but I'll tell you what, it takes so much time just to top and tail,
right?
And to juice it.
Right.
But I'm doing it.
What's another thought you can have? And we're gonna do the thought exercise. What's today? On Wednesday. Wednesday, we're doing the thought exercise. So we'll get to that on Wednesday. But for now, instead of saying I have a problem with celery, what's another thought that you can say? That's gonna make you feel differently about the process takes time. I'm not gonna deny. Washing, chopping, putting it in the water, juicing, storage, cleanup. I'm with you. But what's the thought that you can have that's gonna make that process more enjoyable for you?
It's good for me. This is what keeps me going, honestly. And I can feel it's good for me. It's healthy. That's the only thing that keeps me going. And I have to keep on dredging and going on with this. So,
a thought that helped me at the beginning of this journey when I was having to be I'm somebody who hates the kitchen, hates it with a passion. Can't tell you. I hate it, and I'm horrible at it. So when I realized like this is what has to be done in order to heal, and then I also, like, my husband wasn't on board, like my kids were on board, like it was everything that all of you were experiencing. But having to spend that amount of time in the kitchen, at one point I was like, this is just like, how am I going to do this for the rest of my life? And I remember journaling one day about it. And when you journal, sort of, you quiet down and you release a lot of the noise that's in your head, so you can sort of get into what's really in there that's going to serve you. And the thought that came to me was, being in the kitchen is a blessing. The fact that I have a kitchen is a blessing. The fact that I have food is a blessing. The fact that I have the knowledge about healing foods is a blessing, because as you can all see, you're the only ones with that knowledge. You're the only ones ready to apply that knowledge. Nobody else around you is even interested. So just the fact alone, I remember I used to tell myself, just the fact alone that for whatever reason, I was able to get this awareness is a blessing. And so if I have a kitchen and I have the healing foods and I have the knowledge of the healing foods, what am I complaining about?
Actually, another thought that just came to me, I have the health to do this.
You have the health to stand in your kitchen.
Exactly.
Right?
And to do it for myself.
Yes.
That's another blessing, actually. That's that's the most blessing.
Yes.
So thank you. Thank you for this journey.
You're welcome.
And yeah, thank you.
Welcome. All right, last question. Irina, go ahead.
Dana, can I replace coriander with parsley for the morning juices, or it has to be coriander?
Has to be coriander again. Yeah, this is, you know, during this deep detox phase, very, 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 very few exceptions, because these are working in specific ways, all of these ingredients. So, yeah.
Yes, I understand. Okay, great. Thank you.
Welcome. Two more questions. Shaima, is eating celery in the morning instead of the juicing will have the same effect? No, you need to juice it. I'm still trying to manage getting the juice, but just in case I couldn't because I'm away. Don't frustrate yourself while you're away, right? If you can't do it, then don't do it. Have some lemon water, have a green juice that you can find somewhere from any juice bar. Ask the juice bar. It might not be on their menu. You know, if you go to a juice place or a smoothie place, it might not be on the menu, but you can try asking if they'll just make you a straight up plain celery juice. But don't frustrate yourself and like walk around and like chew a whole stalk, a whole bunch of like 10 stalks of celery. Don't do that to yourself. Riham, is it fine that we store the celery in the fridge? Yes, you can store the celery in the fridge. If you have large quantities, you know, clean it, take off the leaves. You can chop it into small pieces and put it in a big bowl full of water inside your fridge. That's one of the best ways to keep it nice and crisp and fresh for like 3 or 4 days at a time. Okay. All right, ladies, I will see you all again tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great day.